I wanted to really talk about I had thoughts over the weekend and just through like the practice sessions and the race and just the way the race has panned out.
Uh-huh.
The, the track layout at Tokyo, is this one of the best FE tracks we've had? With the changes from last year to this year, they have been mentioned, but I just felt it
Yeah.
added so much to the races with like how the track was opened a bit more,
It
the width of the track.
it's a
We
proper
got
FE track.
It is. And the speed of the cars on the track, some of the camera angles during qualifying at that turn 10, 11 chicane were brilliant. I think there's just some of the corners and especially turn 16 and stuff. It's great. Honestly, just to see the drivers push and just have great racing on a street track nonetheless.
Yeah, 100%. And I did speak to Alberto because this was the conversation because I don't know if Formula E are doing the right thing with Gen 4, and I am questioning it a little bit by how fast these cars are going to be. And
Mm.
I'm starting to think, do they need to be this fast? Because I said to Alberto, I said, you've worked so hard and so long to get Tokyo on the grid. But if you've got a
Yeah,
track that these cars can't race on, what's the point? Because you'll lose it.
yeah,
And now I'm
yeah,
starting to question whether or not Formula E are going in the right direction with Gen 4 about speed. I don't think speed is our priority. I really don't. I don't care. I don't want us to be a F2 speed. I don't think that's. I'm starting to think that that's not the right movement for Formula E. I want longevity. I want to see range. I want to see. They're the important things for electric cars,
mm,
not speed.
Ray.
Not speed. But speed is killing the London E-Prix, so we're going to lose London,
yeah, yeah,
right? Could it
yeah,
kill the Tokyo E-Prix? And if we're saying that the track is one of the best tracks in Formula E, but it is a bit tight. It is, that bump would never have happened, and they got rid of it for this year. But
yeah.
could we lose that one?
Yeah, I mean, they talked throughout the weekend about. I don't know if you guys saw there was a motorsport .com article about it, saying about what Jeff explaining about what kind of talks they had about making it a night race, which I'm all for, but then also about relocating it, and that scares me a bit because it you can't I don't want it to go to a permanent facility because it's just again it's another a pure street track the series is going to lose when this like say at the weekend was absolutely brilliant. But
Yeah,
then also if you're going to risk moving that track and placing it somewhere else, with how these sorts of races are put up, there has to be really strong um backing behind it.
yeah.
And I can see that maybe in the future for Formula E, sure. But at the minute, you can clearly see with the calendar, there are clear compromises
Yeah,
that say the quote unquote Miami E-Prix, that, they'll say it's Miami, but
yeah,
we all know it wasn't. And, you know, we really need to try and strike a balance. Like, for example, the Miami Hard Rock
yeah,
circuit, that's a possibility. Brilliant.
yeah,
That's great, right? Mexico City, brilliant. In the
yep,
city center on a facility that can accommodate it, brilliant. We do need tracks like Tokyo because that's what the ethos of the series was supposed to be.
yep,
But
Yeah.
but it's striking that balance between, as you say, the speed.
yep,
It's impressive, no doubt. But not only will you kill off venues like you've mentioned London, which is very very special at as a
We've
unique
already lost
venue.
Rome.
yeah. We've lost
Rome
Rome.
went.
Yeah, yeah,
Rome went.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and
Admittedly, I think there was a cost thing to it as well. That Formula
yeah,
having to pay an extortionate amount for that to host that race and close the streets and everything. But yeah,
But you've got Rome on your calendar. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and that track
And
was
the thing
just
is,
magical.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And also, there's no other. I'll be honest, acceptable replacements in Italy. The only circuit that is located near a city and somewhat in one is Monza in
And we're not going to
Italy,
go there.
and that's it. And that the day we go
Yeah,
to
come on.
Monza is the day I think Formula E's work is done.
Yeah.
I can't see that
I can't see it happening either. Not at this precise moment.
Maybe Imola, but
Maybe,
it's not
but
really a.
It's a push, it's out the
Yeah,
way,
exactly.
you've got to get there. We want
Admittedly,
accessibility, it's
Yeah.
part of the sustainability element. You get the fans, you bring the racing to the fans. That's what it was about,
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It was about bringing racing to the fans. Like, I don't know if this speed element and being as fast as I don't think. But then you could also argue, because I'm just saying that speed is what thinks that they're going to attract a big audience. They're going to have speed. The cars are going to be fast, and that's going to bring people to watch it because they're fast cars.
Yeah,
Great. That seems like the marketing angle that they're going for.
200 miles an hour, quote unquote.
But they could argue. But they could turn up and say to us right now that we have tried great racing, and Formula E on its day can have great racing, but the great racing hasn't attracted I know we're all fans, and I know we're fans here, but it hasn't attracted the fans the amount of following that Formula E wanted, right? And you can see that when we went to Miami, they hardly sold any tickets for Miami. Right?
They put big advertising things over.
But that was always going to happen. That was always going to happen because they were never going. That's 100,000 seated grandstand. They were never going to sell 100,000 tickets. They've never done that in their life. Like
wishful thinking.
So they had to do something for that.
I reckon they might not have even done that in a season.
But I don't. So they could argue that this might be the way that we have to go to try and get fans. But if that doesn't work, then what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, with the speed element, the cars are going to have to get wider to accommodate this because of the safety, and, with the bigger battery, with current tech, it has to accommodate that. We know size and width of cars. We know it from Monaco. It does affect the racing quite significantly.
It does.
I just wish we need to have a fine balance. I feel like you're at this pace of getting to maybe an F3 level, which they're close.
Yep.
I think that's perfectly acceptable. F3, like Macau, I know it's a bit of an extreme example, but like
Macau would be brilliant for Formula E.
It just looks good, doesn't it? Like F3 speeds, the cars are small, they're zippy, brilliant.
And we're going to Sanya, right? Potentially for next season, but why? Why couldn't we not try to go to Macau?
Why? Why are we going to that?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why? They had the perfect opportunity to go, right, let's try Macau. And you know what I had? You know what was really interesting? The Eric, who's the FIA media person, was talking to Dan Ticktum in the Monaco E-Prix media pen about Macau. Because it was the Macau, and they wanted to talk about and get some content from Macau and how special it is. And Dan Ticktum was like, I wish this series could go there. Like, I was like, why are you talking to Dan about this? But Dan's right. Why can't this series? Has it been looked at? It's a question to look. But then, if you're thinking about Sanya, we're going there. Then maybe it hasn't.
If Sanya, the circuit at Sanya, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same one as we went there before COVID. That circuit, the town Sanya, is about the same distance from Miami to Homestead.
Yeah.
It's on the wrong side of Hainan Island. Is it Hainan Island? I've forgotten what it's called.
Yeah.
But, honestly, Sanya, brutally honest here, I think it's one of the worst Formula E venues we've ever had.
It's not aesthetically pleasing, is it?
No, it's not. It's
I don't know if they're going to use the same venue though. That's the next question mark. But we don't know for sure.
Yeah, but if they do, like from what I saw, because I had a quick zoom in on Google Maps and everything, it looked like that they just put it in and around a couple fancy hotels.
Yeah, that's precisely
off a resort, and that's not.
Precisely what.
And I'd rather do Homestead than Sanya. Easy, any day.
Yeah.
They've got, the thing is, China. They've got some decent. I know we're never going to go back to Beijing, but the thing is, Wuhan had a good touring car circuit, and I know there'll be jokes about COVID and eating bats and all that lot. Wuhan, there was a Wuhan World Touring Car race there. Macau is constantly considered. There are so many sort of decent options, and one just over the border as well. The Hanoi Formula One track that never happened. Why don't we use a truncated version of that in Gen4?
It's a growing market. If he wanted to go to Thailand,
yep,
it's right
yeah,
there.
but that didn't
try Vietnam.
It didn't happen.